Correct.
Hello, everybody. I am
Shafalika. Namaste.
Namaste. नमस्ते सबको.
आपको भी हमारा नमस्कार.
हाँ जी. मैं सीता के गांव से हूँ. I am from the village of Sita.
Very nice.
मैं
वहाँ की नहीं हूँ लेकिन हिंदी ठीक ठाक बोल लेती हूँ मैं.
आप वहाँ की नहीं हो तो क्या हो, सीता तो आपके भी मन में होगी.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, हम सब सीता के ही हैं.
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है आज.
जनक महाराज थे ना सीता जी के फादर.
हाय सच्चिदानंद, याद है मेरी शेफालिका वर्मा. आपके साथ नमस्ते, आपके साथ दिल्ली में काम कर चुकी हूँ साहित्य अकेडमी में.
जी 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 जानता हूँ.
एवरीथिंग. नाम देखो तो बड़े.
Sina, there is this message, end this video call for everyone. You can turn off quick access limit, who can join this call up. What's this?
Amjad, please see what is that?
End the call for everyone, just leave the call. It says, end this video call for everyone.
No, I think, yeah.
I don't want to touch it.
No, please don't touch it.
No, I won't. I will not touch what I don't know.
Okay. Hello, Amjad. Adu close ചെയ്താ മതി. Paddy, please close that window. Don't.
No, it has only two options. Just leave the call or end the call for everyone. So both are dicey.
Leave and rejoin.
I should leave and rejoin. Huh?
Okay. Okay, we will begin. Okay. So Suyesh, hope you are ready.
Yes, miss.
Yes, please start.
Thank you. The voice and having some of today. Simon, good evening to everyone. And on this beautiful evening, I welcome all to this auspicious ceremony. Today we have all gathered here for an auspicious event of Rhyming Nature 2023, organized by Government Polytechnic College, Perilmanna's National Digital Library Club, with stressing on the topic of climate change. Further, without wasting our precious time, I would like to hand over the microphone to Mr. Shashi Kumar for prayer.
നല്ല വാക്കിന്റെ ശീലു ചൊല്ലുവാൻ നാവിനാകേണമേ സ്നേഹമാകുന്ന ഗീതമോ എൻ്റെ കാതിനിണയാകണേ സത്യമെന്നുള്ള ശീലമോടെ ഞാൻ ശാന്തി അറിയണമേ ഭൂമിയമ്മയെന്നറിയുവാനുള്ള ബോധമുണ്ടാകണേ ജീവജാലങ്ങളാകയും ജന്മ ബന്ധുവായിടണേ ലോകമൊന്നെന്ന പാഠമെന്നുമെൻ മനസ്സിലെഴുതേണമേ മനസ്സിലെഴുതേണമേ.
Thank you, ma'am, for the time. Now, I would like to have the to Srimati C, a professor at GPTC Perimana, to present the welcome speech in front of our honorable guests.
Thank you, Suyesh. Environmental challenges are, in fact, the indications of the degraded ecology at the global level. These problems include air and water pollutions, loss of biodiversity and wildlife, carbon emissions, ozone layer depletion, global warming, and climate change. Global warming is described as the most recent example of climate change. It describes the current rise in the average temperature of Earth's air and oceans. All of the human activities add greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, trapping more heat than usual and contributing to global warming. We are here to talk about it, to raise our voice. I have the duty of welcoming you all to this function. First of all, I would like to welcome the President of Sahitya Academy, Kerala, Sri Sachidanandan sir. Welcome to you, sir. Now, let me welcome our principal, Srimati Manjusha TT, for this event. Let me welcome Sri Mahalingeshwar sir to the event. We have 16 participants here. So please bear with me if I forget any one of your name. Then I would like to welcome Mrs. Shefalika Verma. There will be an introduction to you after this welcome session to all of you. I'm just welcoming you all. Then our second session is moderating our beloved Patmaja Iyengar Paddy. I welcome you to the event. We have Rolf Doppenberg, Maria, Nisa Sathavi, Annie George, Achudan Master, and so many from different parts of the world. So I welcome you all. I know I have to call you each by name, but due to the restriction of time, we have to complete this within 2 hours. So I welcome all the participants to the event and all the persons who are behind this, especially all my staff members, the PTA, and the students of our college. I welcome you all to the event. Over to you, Suyesh.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the informative and meaningful welcome speech. Now, I would like to welcome Srimati Manjusha TT, Honorable Principal of Government Polytechnic College, Perimana, to speak a few words to our guests.
So thank you, Suyesh and Sina. So good evening to everyone. I am Manjusha, the principal of Government Polytechnic College, Perindalmanna. Today we have gathered here to commemorate this event, Rhyming Nature. Poetry is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. It takes its origin from emotions recollected in tranquility. It's a William Wordsworth's quote about poetry that we all are familiar with. Poetry doesn't have any boundaries to it. It is vast as the blue sky and deep as the ocean. One's feelings and emotions are expressed through rhythmic and meaningful words that gets ingrained to the hungry minds of the readers. Philosophies, fantasies, tragedy, ecstasy. Nowadays, poetry has even reached to politics. I would like to address something that actually caught my eye. Amananda Goman's inaugural poem, The Hill We Climb, about unity and perseverance in the US. Poetry is everywhere in our heart and soul. It takes me back to my school days where we learned poems of textbooks. The ones we could never forget are William Wordsworth's Robert Frost, Edutachan, Cherusheri, OMV, Kumaranashan, Changampura, Vailopalli's poems. This platform is useful for all of us to share our creativity and insights to poetry. I'm aware that we all are excited for the poem recitation from the delegates from different parts of the world. This is the second edition of Rhyming Nature organized by Government Polytechnic College, Perindalmanna, and kudos for the brilliant effort and organizing capacity of Srimati Sina, Assistant Professor of English in our institute, conveying my support and wishes for the intellectual digital literary event. Thank you all.
Thank you for this speech. Now, I would like to introduce about 30 collections of poetry in Malayalam, 10 in English, and 35 collections in languages like Arabic, Irish, French, German, Italian, and Japanese, besides all major Indian languages. He has also won 52 awards from various events and organizations. He has also attained 5 awards from 5 genres from Kerala Sahitya Academy. He is working as president of Sahitya Academy, Kerala. Therefore, I would welcome the mic to him for speaking a few words.
Dear friends, I'm quite happy to be here once again because I was there, I think, in the last edition of Rhyming Nature. And thank you, Sina, and all her friends and all the staff of the Polytechnic, Government Polytechnic Perindalmanna, for organizing such an event, especially when ecological devastation is all around us in various forms. And of course, climate change is perhaps the most important among them. Today, this issue, the issue of environment, has not only acquired several new dimensions, but has become the most crucial question that concerns the survival of human species and of the planet itself. It is not surprising that some of the hottest battles of our time are being fought around ecological issues, especially in the context of the aggressive developmental policies pursued by neoliberal and often pro-imperialistic regimes across the globe. Several small and big movements, including the international movements, have come up in the last 1 or 2 decades around global warming, ozone layer damage, fatal radiations, soil erosions, forest fires, industrial pollution, the drying up and depletion of rivers, strangely coupled with their opposite, floods and avalanches, the changes in the cycle of seasons, the exhaustion of non-renewable resources due to the use of unsustainable developmental strategies, rationalized by what Schumacher and Ivan Illich used to call industrial ideology, and social entropy and genetic manipulation that cut across national boundaries. not only the future of human species at stake, which is ultimately linked to not only the future of the human species is at stake, but animals and plants too are facing extinction due to environmental damage and climate change, which are ultimately linked to our unscrupulous profit mongering and infinite greed. While these struggles have produced martyrs like the poet Kensaro Viva, they have been supported by concerned intellectuals and writers across the world. It is already late for the human race to do some serious introspection about its ways of life, development, and acquisition that are denying posterity the very chance to exist and grow. The recent pandemic has given a new focus and orientation to the ongoing discussions and also inspired writers to engage with the issue in novel and creative ways. What we call nature is no longer nature in its pristine glory. Human intervention has transformed it into something semi-human, a combination of climate, topography, the original environment, and the effects of the long history of human intervention. If earlier it was agriculture that had transformed the landscape, now it is urbanization. Managing the environment is becoming a practical rather than a merely theoretical problem. It is not enough we create theme parks or conserve certain selected areas as they are. Museumizing nature and landscape will not do. Several animals and birds are on the verge of extinction. The list is growing day by day, and human being can easily be the next in the risk list. What we require today is not isolated action, but concerned action at the global level. Techno-fascism that leads to eco-fascism both have their roots in human greed and aggression, is one of the inevitable fallouts of blind and unsustainable patterns of development pursued by capitalism, as well as the kind of socialism we found being put to test in countries that pass through popular revolutions. I'll just conclude because I don't think I have plenty of time. Writers, prophets by the older definition.
Continue, sir. No issues.
So, writers, prophets by the older definition have a leading role to play in sensitizing the people to the impending environmental disasters through their writing, as also through their actions as concerned citizens, since the question here is one of the ultimate survival of the human race, which sadly is on the path of self-destruction, prompted by what ancient Indians called Trishna and Lobha, desire and greed, against whose temptation many Indian philosophers and poets like the Buddha and Mahavira, Tirumular and Vasavanna, Kabir and Raidas, Chokhamela and Chaitanya, Guru Nanak and Mahatma Gandhi, and prophets and philosophers from Socrates and Jesus Christ to Karl Marx and Gilles Deleuze have been warning us in diverse ways through centuries. I'll end my very short talk here as there are quite a few poets to read. And maybe, am I supposed to read now? No, or
Yes,
later?
you read your poem right now.
Okay. These poems may not be exactly about climate change, but they certainly have something to do with the issues of environment. And I have been writing poems with ecological implications from the very beginning. These are some of my very recent poems. History. Actually, it was written during the COVID days. History was there before us, only we were not there. We who believe we are witnesses to the objects, plants, and beasts on earth. Why? That they were all created for us even. But they don't think so. They were the witnesses to our emergence. They blessed us, gave us water and shade, flowers, fruits, milk. In the beginning, we feared them. and worshipped. Then we ousted them from history, turned them into our slaves and menials. Have you ever had to watch your brothers being axed and sawn into pieces to be sold in the timber market, or hanging on a hook bleeding in the meat shop? Our tribe doesn't have much time left. Our own inventions will render us irrelevant. Those who saw our rise will, in total detachment, watch our fall. They will survive to write a new history where the tale of our arrival and departure will be told in just a paragraph, scribbled on brown rocks and green leaves by the liquid fingers of the rain falling from the sapphire clouds in the secret language of leaf veins and tortoise shells. The minute history of the universe caught by their own meticulous antennae, where only they will feature, and their God. That's one point. On this earth, we landed on earth from different stars. That's why we speak different languages. Each word carries the aura of the memories of the stars we left. In sleep, we travel to those glittering homes. There we speak to our forefathers like geckos that know every one of its walls. We wake up to discover it's stardust on our skins. 2. From which star did you come? I ask, watching the blue dust on her shoulders at dawn. She stares jealous at the red dust on my chest. We are now characters in some science fiction. Even our heads do not look human. 3. As we die, we return to the stars we left. We will forget our sojourn on earth. We will float in space as weightless souls until we get another body and another language. 4. I want to be reborn on earth, this time as a tree. You will be a bird perched on its bough. I will recognize you by the blue dust on your wings, and you, me, with the red dust on my bark. This time, we won't quarrel. I will exchange my fruits for your song. There won't be humans to see or hear it. Butterflies, only butterflies. I have a series of poems which I wrote during the deluge, the huge deluge that we had to experience in Kerala. It's a long series. I'm reading just one or two very short pieces from that. It's a series of monologues. There is a river speaking, the mountain speaking, the forest speaking, the bird speaking, the dog speaking, the house speaking. So it's a whole series, the fishermen speaking and people speaking finally. But I'll read just 2 or 3 very short pieces. What the forest said. I am not a tree, nor a grove. I am a forest who turns you green with an echo when you call into me. I am full of the spirits of the forest dwellers. At times I roar, I chirp at times. I have doubts about your civilization. Every axe falling on me really falls on you. In every scream of mine, it is you who squirm. I am a forest that nourished with fruit, tribes and goddesses, hermits and birds, the green eternity of youth. Fear my tears, they may drown you. And what the house said, in my memory, I am still a field. In Kerala and maybe in other parts of the world, there are bungalows being built on fields, on places which were paddy fields and wheat fields earlier. So what the house said, in my memory, I am still a field. In my memory, there is a pond close by and a little stream where frogs and fishes chat. Water lifting its arms and legs and laughing with its naked gums like little Sita in the furrow. Beautiful little plants among the paddy that men denounce as weeds. 100 flowers, white, yellow, red, periwinkle, tape wine, morning glory. Rice won't grow in drawing rooms. Paddy won't ripen in bedrooms. Water won't seep into concrete. Now, once again, I am a field. Men need houses. Fields too, perhaps. I'll just... what the river said, I'll just finish it with this. What the river said, I was life. Lands gave me names. Children swam in my blues with fish. I laughed and played hide and seek, watering poems and paddy crops. Poets sang in my praise, and on my shores rose languages and ballads, cities and dances. When human greed encroached upon my parts, seeking refuge, I ran helter-skelter, strayed into the homes and streets of men and gods. Curses rose and bloomed in me as blood-red bubbles. Where will I go, dear ones, when God's sky and men's dams burst into me and fill me? Pardon me, ripe fields, beasts the currents washed away, dead houses, I ask of you only for a little space to spread my blue arms and legs and freely flow so that we may not have another war. I may once again become your friendly river. I may recall and sing my old lullabies. Thank you. I'll stop here. Thank
you. Post that coming for who is a poet, well-known writer and educator. He holds a bachelor's degree in English literature from University of Jordan and a master's degree in human resources development from University of Minnesota. He is also a Mauritanian writer and series. I would like microphone to Mr. Nizar sir. Thank you.
Nizar sir.
Can't hear Suyesh actually.
So I think he's calling Suyesh sir. Just a minute.
His voice is breaking.
I didn't hear my name.
No issues.
Oh, no. Start. Should I start?
Okay, I'll. Next, I would like to invite Nizar Satawi sir for his speech. Thank you, Sachidanandan sir. This was a wonderful speech and your poetry, brilliant poetry. And we are really blessed to hear directly from you. So Nizar sir is here. So Nizar Satawi is a Palestinian poet and translator committed to building bridges between nations of the globe through poetry and poetry translations. He believes that poetry, like other arts, has the power of bringing people together. Nizar Satawi is a member of numerous local, Arab, and international literary and cultural organizations. He has participated in a number of Arab, international, and international literary conferences and poetry festivals and readings in Jordan, Palestine, Lebanon, Morocco, all around the globe. So welcome to you, sir. We are so happy to hear you. Over to
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Thank you. Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, dear poets. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, because that depends on whichever part of the globe you're located. I'm so happy, really, to participate in this wonderful meet, the International Poetry Reading, Rhyming Nature, this evening in Kerala. I'm both honored and humbled to be a guest of honor and virtually meet great poets from different parts of the globe. I can recognize so many faces here. Some of you I've met in person in Vijayawada, in Kerala, in Dubai, and others I know because they are my dear friends on Facebook. So we've chatted in writing once in a while. So it's so ingratiating to be among you here. I'll just go ahead and read a few poems here. I'll begin with a poem titled The Heavy March. And this is about climate change, global warming. Oh, March. March is, by the way, March marks the month when spring begins in the Middle East. Oh, March, dear March, why is your heart becoming so hard? Oh, how you've always traversed this land with softer steps. How boughs and stalks and leaves and grass have merely waltzed with your west wind. How your mist sprinkled the air with fragrant dew. How drops of rain kissed the blossom's lips. But now you come in a new attire, hot and haughty. Your clouds pass by with eyelids closed, and your sun scorches all our dreams. Oh, March, dear March, why has your march become so harsh? Thanks. My second poem is entitled Gunsmoke. It's a very short one. Where are they now? Where are they now, the carefree larks that gathered straw and built their nests in yonder meadow? Where are their morning songs, their noon siestas, their evening whispers? All gone since these lands were colonized by Gunsmoke. My next poem is The Little Kumukwa Shop. It's a Kumukwa shop that I saw and loved it. Green, gorgeous child, standing shyly amidst your tall, proud sisters and kinswomen. Loosen your loins, let the moist soil send up into your veins the flutes of love. Spread your soft limbs, let the August sun toughen your tender boughs. Let his beams dye your leaves with divine light. Open your dainty white blossoms, so the bees may whisper to them the secrets of life. For soon you'll be a little woman with emeralds green, waiting for the fall to show their golden glory. My next poem is about my first day in Hyderabad. That was when I came to Vijayawada. And so I still have this poem and really love it. Out of the hotel, I hopped into an old auto rickshaw. In the small squeeze my big physique in the small space on the left of the driver. With a sudden jerk, the auto turns right, joins the heavy traffic, and rushes along the wide road. You're a stranger here, I thought to myself. No friend to tell you the tales, no friend to tell you the tales of old Nizams, no guide to drive your senses wild with promises of oriental wonderlands. Nor do you have a map to fill the spatial gaps in your imagination. On and on the three-wheeler moved, forcing its way with a loud, incessant horn, pushing away the motorbikes, defying cars, buses, and trucks, claiming ownership of all the lanes. You're lost, I told myself again and again, and felt forlorn. But then it dawned on me I wasn't alone. I turned around and looked at the back seat. 6 eyes stared back at me. I smiled. Do you speak English? The girl in the middle bubbled her head. I knew that as an Indian yes. In no time, we were all communing, and when the auto came to a halt, we all went to have some tea. That was the day, my first day in Hyderabad. My last poem is Bullets in Brill. Moving the oil lamp further away from the window, she squats on the kitchen floor, turns over the potato cubes in the greasy frying pan on the grimy brass Primus stove. She adds some salt and turns them over again. A 4-year-old kid is still trotting from corner to corner, D, 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 urging his broomstick. In the distance, shouting and shooting. She looked at her child, still trotting and shouting, D, D. She knew they were in town. She knew they were coming. And her sack was ready. She turned the wick of the oil lamp down. Blind volley of bullets whizzed through the dilapidated window. She subdued the scream, looked around, ran for the sack, threw it on her shoulder, grabbed the little kid by the waist, ran out of the back door, and disappeared in the dark. Back in the kitchen, the brass Primus stove was still roaring, the potato cubes cooking, the flame from the oil lamp flickering. On the wall opposite the window, the tail was chiseled in deep Brill alphabets. Thank you. Yes, that's enough now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Suyesh, hope your connection is restored. Suyesh, are you there?
Hello, Miss.
Yes.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you, Nizar sir, for your valuable poem and words. Next, I would like to call Dr. Shefalika Verma, who is also known as Mahadevi of Maithili. In 1974, she was acclaimed as the best Maithili prose writer and was awarded with Mahopadhyay Dr. Umesh Mishra Memorial Gold Medal by Maithili Academy from the hands of Dr. Babu Ram Saxena, former Vice Chancellor of Allahabad University. She is also part of many editorial board of many magazines. Without further ado, I'm handing the microphone to Ms. Shefalika Verma. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. And firstly, I am very much obliged to Sheena, who gave me this beautiful golden opportunity to participate with you all, famous poets. I am delighted to be at this scintillating international poetry reading. So, thank you, K. Sachidanandan. I met you after a long time. Very, very much glad I am here. Nizar Seta. Very nice poets I have heard here. So many beautiful poems. And firstly, today's theme of rhyming nature highlights the need of the hour, which is so near to my heart. I will read the poem here, only one, but so near to my heart that I have seen the situation of destruction of nature. So I want to share with you. Thank you all. Thank you all. Oh, Gurua. Oh, just a minute. Yes. Its title is The Man and Nature. The Man and Nature. What should I say? What should I say about my feelings? Whatever and whenever I have seen nature crying, when I was able to read the language of nature's eyes, nature crying, but could not save the breaking breath of old Tehri, breaking breath of old Tehri. As soon as Tehri Dam is built, those high mountain ranges will be underwater along with Bhairav temple, where King Sudarshana Shah's horse stayed at 1804. 1804, Tehri city was born then. Where with markets resembling Delhi's Kamala Nagar, Patna's Sabji Bagh, South Hall of London. The ancient temple of Badri, Kedar, Pashupatinath, Satyeshwar Mahadev, all the confluence sank in a hurry. Satyeshwar Mahadev sank in a hurry at the confluence place of Bhagirathi. That's Ganga. Bhagirathi means Ganga. That's confluence place of Bhagirathi, the origin of the Bhilangana river. When Tehri Dam was built, the defeated Bhagirathi was tired, desperately sad. The river was like Bandhani woman of Bharat, means the slave woman of Bharat, defeated by. A new Tehri village was established for the displaced. But there was neither radiance nor enthusiasm left on their face. Not enthusiasm left on their face. Nature was defeated by men. In the creation of a new creation. It always happens. Nature was defeated by man in the creation of the new creation. But think the day the dam broke due to the wrath of nature. Think the day the dam broke with the wrath of nature, India's civilization will be swept away. Bharat's civilization will be swept away along with Delhi. Then don't ask further. The shivering memories erupted with anger. Men made Kosi Baras. Kosi Baras, that's the river of sorrow. In the world, it's said that the river of sorrow. The Kosi Baras, putting Kosi river, the playful daughter of Himalayas, in prison between the two embankments. No one again cared. Neglected as old parents. That Kosi's embankments. Corona is nothing. Today, Corona is nothing. Being angry, Vilangana, Bhagirathi, Kosi will rise. Being angry, Vilangana, Bhagirathi, Kosi will rise. No one will be alive. Will create a new human balanced with heart and intellect. Still you have time to care. To read the heart of nature. Otherwise, you are mere clay, nothing else. You are mere clay. You think that I am a well-known person, but no, you are mere clay. You will get mixed in the soil. Think for home. You will make money. The ignorant and self-obsessed man, don't touch the nature. We are breathing with nature. We are made of nature. Don't touch nature. Thank you. Only one. Sina, thank you. Pardon me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Suyesh, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Shefalika, ma'am, for a heartwarming, meaningful, and beautiful poem. Moving on, I would like to introduce Mr. Mahalingeshwar, sir. He is a honorary fellow for folklore, folklorist, and literature. He has completed his postgraduate in English and Kannada literature. He has formerly worked as a research scholar in the Institute of Asian Studies, Madras, from 1994 to 1988. He is presently working as a regional secretary at Southern Regional Office, Bangalore. I would like to give the microphone to Mr. Mahalingeshwar, sir.
Mahalingeshwar.
Are you hearing?
Former Secretary Mahalingeshwar.
Are you hearing?
Yeah.
It back?
Yes.
Namaskara.
We can hear.
Namaskara. Good evening from Karnataka to all of you. Respected Professor Sachidanandji. Totally mad, so mesmerizing this poetry evening, this international poetry session, so lively. Especially my thanks to him. And inviting me, even though I am not an established poet. I wholeheartedly thank Sina for inviting me to this as one of the guests. And I heard Miss Shefalika ji, I know her since when I was in Delhi. So all are very wonderful poets and gifted poets are here. So I need not to elaborate my words because poetry never dies and poetry refuses to die. When till people are there, poetry rises to the like Mount Everest. Poetry cannot change also the society, we know. However, poetry can create awareness among the people and society. So I very rarely wrote poems during my student days in early 80s, means some 4 decades ago. And now, because I already told Hina, I am not comfortable to join this today, but while remembering it, I just read one of my poems, 4 lines, which I wrote in 90. It is in like this in Kannada, my language. ದೀಪಗಳು ಉರಿಯುತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ದೇವ ಮಂದಿರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆಗಳು ಕೇಳುತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಚರ್ಚು ಮಸೀದಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ದೇವರುಗಳೇನೋ ಬಹಳ ಈ ನಗರದಲ್ಲಿ, ಮನುಷ್ಯರು ಮಾತ್ರ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. It is like in English. Lights are not lit in the temples. Prayers are not heard in masjids and churches. Gods are so plenty in my city, but nowhere seen human beings. This is a short poem. Just because I wrote only one collection called Agnisakshi, I brought it in 83. Afterwards, I wrote some poems only, but at the moment I am not elaborating it much. But anyway, my congratulations, and I really blessed by hearing the poetry in this rhyming nature itself, a very good name, and it is meant because Sachidanand, I endorse all his words because today what is he portrayed in his few words, as well as in poetry, he also again displayed that our all present situation has been so importantly brought in his poetry, because he is a very great poet of our time. Like Nizar also, again he brought his experience from Vijayawada, as well as his all of the poetry was very alarming and it was inspiring. So with this, I also very much eager to hear all the great poets, all wonderful poets here. Padmaja, we know very well, and all team of Sina. Wilson, I am congratulating you, and I am really blessed, or I am really very having fortune, because I, as Sachidanand told, I also participated in the last as a guest of so this is really a wonderful poetry session of international level, and I hope this will progress in coming days in its whole richness. With all these words, I conclude my words and here, and I thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Over to you, Suyesh. Sajivan, sir, are you ready?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Suyesh, please call Sajivan, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Further, I would like to introduce Dr. T.V. Sajeev to the stage. This is senior principal at the Department of Forest Entomology.
Suyesh, your line network is again, I think it's not working well.
Now, miss? Hello.
It's okay. Now all right.
Okay. Sir. Okay. Sir. Taking a look into his life, Sajeev sir completed zoology from Maharajas College at pre-degree and degree levels. Further, he completed post-graduation from the Department of Zoology, University of Calicut, with specialization in entomology. He received the PhD from Cochin University of Science and Technology on his thesis on spatial dynamics of pig defoliate outbreaks. Currently, Sajjan sir is working at PG Thrissur, Kerala. Without further ado, I would hand over the microphone to Sajjan sir. Please, sir.
Dear friends, I had been traveling a bit. I just reached one of the high levels of mountains in Kerala. Now, when I came over here, I didn't have the Wi-Fi connectivity, so I was running from room to room to get good access. So that's why I'm delayed. Sorry for that. Now, see, this is a second edition of Rhyming Nature. So when we had the very first edition, I was talking about how the poets had completely removed the rhyme from their poems, and consequently how the nature has also uh, deleted rhyme in the seasons, the rains which we had over here. But this edition, I would like to introduce a new person, uh, a woman from the US, uh, whom I think all poets should have a look at her profile. Her name is Rachel Carson. Rachel Carson uh, was basically a biologist. She was a biologist who was looking at the organisms in the sea, the organisms on the terrestrial domain. But later, she wrote a very wonderful book. In 1962, she wrote a book, and the title of the book was Silent Spring. In that book, she asked a very pertinent question. Why is the spring very silent these days? The spring used to be loud with voices of birds, of large number of organisms, and they'll be rejoicing out there. But then her question was very simple. Why has the spring become so silent? Rachel Carson's book, uh, titled Silent Spring, published in 1962, started off a large number of environmental movements across the globe, countries. Now, that is supposed to be the very first thing which triggered the concerns of on environment across the planet. She wrote about basically pesticides which have been used in many different domains, which gets into the food chain and which kills birds. Now, many years later, when we are looking at rhyming nature, one of the reasons why the rhyme of the nature has gone, and the reason why the silence of the spring has happened, is because of many different types of toxic chemicals which we are putting out to the nature. Now, as a scientist, what makes me different in this whole group is that I don't write poems. I do science. Now, when we do science, we also understand that the sensibility of doing good science is something which we share with poets. The reason is that I have never ever come across a negative poem in my life. All the poems you write are absolutely positive. Every poem you write, you may be speaking about many different different pains of people, the pangs of people, but at the end of it, your poems are extremely positive. And that is something which we scientists also share. We want to make sure that the planet is much more a positive space. I'll tell you one small example. Today, I've been traveling from the seashore in Kerala up to the top of the Western Ghats, of the hill ranges in Kerala. While doing so, I have just spent 4.5 hours to travel. But I can tell you what are the different types of forest I traveled through. I started with a mangrove forest in the seashore. I crossed one of the sacred groves inside Kerala. I then traveled through the plantations, the thick plantations in the foothills of Western Ghats. I then entered the moist deciduous forest, a forest which sheds all its leaves during one part of the year. Then I entered the semi-evergreen forest. Then I entered the evergreen forest which is absolutely green all through the year. And then when I went up to the Western Ghats, top of the Western Ghats, I reached the Shola forest. Shola forest is so unique. Short trees, which are quite aged, large number of lichens out there, large number of orchids out there, and then I reached the high elevation grasslands on the Western Ghats. Now, this is a pristine country. There's nothing wrong in calling this the God's own country, basically because uh, there are very few places in the world where you can see all these types of diverse forest ecosystems in such a short uh, uh, span of travel. So I have just completed that trip and I am now at the top of the Western Ghats. And when I look from here, I just would like to inform you about two things. One is the climate is changing. The globe is getting warmer and warmer. And when the globe gets warmer and warmer, what does the species do? The species do two things. One thing, they travel towards the poles, towards the North Pole and the South Pole, because they move from the equator towards the poles so that they get a uh, comfortable temperature to live on. It happens in the sea. Our research institutions which study the species in the sea, like the Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute, says that the fishes which we used to catch from the shores of Kerala have moved up to the north, like places like Visakhapatnam. And on the land, what is happening is that the species are moving up the hills because when you go up the hill, it is much more colder. Insects have started to move, birds have started to move, amphibians, reptiles, all animals have started to move up the hills. And what about the plants and the trees and the flowers? They also move. And how do the trees move? Trees move when they are seeds. Think of a situation where the seeds which has gone up the mountain only germinates. Maybe after one cycle of generation time, you can see that the trees have moved up the mountains. And every lowland species is slowly climbing up the mountains. Now, there's an interesting question. Then, what is going to happen with the species which are living on the peaks of the mountains? The peaks of the mountains, we call them as the sky islands. They are sky islands. It is just like an island you see in an ocean, basically because the species which you live over there cannot live anywhere else. They cannot climb down. The only place where they can live is at another sky island. But reaching from one sky island, one mountain peak to another mountain peak is not possible for many species. Birds can fly, butterflies can fly, beetles can fly, but for many other species, they cannot climb down the valley and then climb the mountains. It's impossible. Now, our part of the globe is facing a large-scale extinction of sky island species. That includes species which are found just only here, not anywhere else in the world. So we are facing large amount of species extinction, which uh, our beloved poet Sachidanandan was mentioning too. We are facing very serious loss of species. A loss of species is also a loss of information. It's a loss of knowledge. Like, for example, when my grandmother died, She went with a lot of information. And then when my mother died, I don't have access to the information which she had, rich knowledge which she had. My father was a Malayalam teacher. Whenever I had a doubt in Malayalam on the grammar, I used to call my father. He's no more. I am impoverished. Every loss of an individual, every loss of a species is a loss of information. And this information is so much needed for us to take us forward. As a scientist, I look at you all poets that you will hold the information. You will bring back the information. You will preserve the information in your poems so that mankind can move forward. Thank you very much for inviting me for the second edition of Rhyming Nature. Best wishes to the event and best wishes to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Suyesh, how are you? Are you there, Suyesh? Okay. Now let me invite Anita S., Assistant Professor, Department of English, Government College, Tripunithara. Hope Anita is here.
Yes, I'm there. I'm there.
Okay. Anita, it's your turn.
Namaskaram to everyone present here. When I was asked to speak a few words in this August gathering, it was actually a very great moment for me because I'm in the midst of such creative minds, and the topic definitely relevant to the times, something that has been talked about a lot, but concrete action which needs to be followed in this direction. It was really a very heartwarming response from my part to listen to poets from different parts of the world get together in a virtual meeting. Even though it's a virtual meeting, we have all been able to listen to each other because of this meeting. And I must say that listening to you itself is like a whole, reading lots and lots of books. Our beloved poets have shared their impressions about nature and told us what they think about this. And thank you very much for to the organizers who have invited me for this event. And I'm looking forward to listening to the poems by the other poets. And I'm told that this is a second edition of the program. It is really a great gesture that Government Polytechnic College, Perindalmanna, has taken up to organize an event like this. And I'm also told that the poems which were presented in the last edition have been compiled and that they are planning to do a release of the cover as well. Kudos to you and the team, to all those people who are here to appreciate the work that is. It is not easy convening a meeting like this, getting hold of so many brilliant minds, organizing an event, and also including your students in the program, because after all, it is very, very important that the future citizens of the world take up this challenge, are aware of the problems that have been, the destruction that has already been caused, and do something about take concrete steps to stop this destruction and stop us from being extinct ourselves. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. With this, our first session come to an end. Now I'm handing over the session to Paddy Padmaja Iyengar. Let me introduce her to all of you. I know all of you know her very well.